The film begins at the quaint Darling Diner, located in the southern region. Angela Darling, played by Shay Walker, is a hard-working waitress at the diner, and her children often hang around there. One day, as she jokes with her children about their future careers, she tells them they will be working at the diner when they grow up. However, Thomas Marshall, one of Angela's kids, is not content with the thought of a future in the diner. He expresses his disappointment and instead dreams of becoming a pirate. Feeling down, Thomas walks outside, just as a train passes by. To his surprise, he sees a mysterious figure running on top of the train, and without hesitation, Thomas decides to embark on an adventure and climbs onto the train. As he sets off on his journey, Angela's youngest daughter, Wendy, watches from a distance with wonder. Several years have passed, and Wendy, now 9 years old, has a strong adventurous spirit. She spends her evenings creating exciting bedtime stories to read to herself. Wendy lives with her mother, Angela, and her 2 older twin brothers, Douglas and James. One day, as the family gathers, Angela recounts her life experiences, including giving up on her own dreams to raise her children. This raises questions in Wendy's mind about whether she too will have to sacrifice her own aspirations when she grows up. That night, as Wendy is settling in for bed, she notices the familiar sight of the train passing by. Wendy pitches in at the diner, but her thoughts keep wandering to the train. She grapples with the decision of whether or not to embark on an adventure, worried that she will regret not taking the chance. That evening, Wendy's brothers spot the train passing by and see a figure, who appears to be a boy, running on top of it. Without hesitation, Douglas and James climb out of the window and hop onto the train. Wendy misses the jump but manages to catch up to the train by running after it, and eventually climbing aboard. Upon reaching the roof of the train, the kids are greeted by Peter. The children continue their journey on the train, traveling far from home. Eventually, Peter pushes them off the train and into the water, where they find themselves on a remote island with a volcano, resembling the legendary Neverland. As they explore the island, another young boy approaches in a boat, and Peter commands him to take himself and the new arrivals with him. They venture further into the island, discovering a group of other lost boys, including Thomas, who has not aged since he ran away. Peter summons the spirit of the island, whom he refers to as Mother, and the other boys regard him with awe. Peter explains to Wendy that as long as they believe in Mother, she will take care of them. He leads Wendy and her brothers on thrilling adventures across the island, playing with the other lost boys and even swimming down into the water, where they catch a glimpse of the massive glowing fish that represents Mother. Although Wendy is having the time of her life, she begins to worry about her mother and the fact that she will soon realize her children are missing. As the children are sleeping, an old man sneaks into their dwelling and sets a cup near Thomas's face. Wendy alerts the others, and they chase the man away. He introduces himself as Buzzo, but the other lost boys seem to recognize him, while Peter refuses to let him near the children and denies knowing him by that name. Peter explains that there is a portion of the island where children age rapidly, aging into old age before they have lived their lives to the fullest. Following that, Wendy and her brothers go for a swim, but Douglas sustains a head injury and disappears. Despite Wendy and James's search efforts, they can't locate him. They turn to Peter and the other lost boys for help, but they assume it's a hopeless cause. James becomes increasingly distant without Douglas, and even Wendy is unable to comfort him. James's hand starts to take on the appearance of an elderly man's hand. Wendy and James try to conceal it, but Peter eventually discovers it. Fearing that James is about to start aging rapidly, Peter agrees to cut off James's hand with a machete when asked. James is writhing in pain, and Wendy takes him to seek help from the other aged children on the island. Wendy realizes that these children are in dire straits, lacking adequate food or resources. She sets up a makeshift diner, pretending to serve them food and drinks while playing music on a jukebox to create a festive atmosphere. But James is not satisfied and convinces the others that they need to reach Mother in order to improve their situation, which requires kidnapping the other children. Wendy tries to intervene, but James has already gone too far. Wendy returns to alert Peter, but the aged children arrive and capture the lost boys. Peter declares James as his enemy, but Wendy maintains that James is still her brother and that Peter is to blame for his anger. She says they did not have enough faith in Mother. They set out to rescue the other children and find Douglas alive. They reach the pirate ship where they find James, now elderly and isolated, with a hook for a hand. He resents Douglas for not aging like he did. They approach the mother fish and James hurls a harpoon. Peter and Wendy dive underwater to help Mother, but she dies and nothing happens as the children expected. They reach the shore and Wendy gathers the children to start singing. As their voices get louder, Peter becomes more inspired and the volcano from Mother erupts once again. Wendy and Douglas decide it is time for them to return home, but knowing James cannot go home, he stays and continues to play with Peter as his new enemy, Captain Hook, allowing him to live the rest of his life with a childlike spirit. As the story comes to an end, Wendy reflects on her time with Peter and the island. She recounts her adventures to her own daughter, and the tale has passed down from generation to generation. Though Wendy is now a mother with a family of her own, she will never forget the magic of Peter and the island. When her daughter joins Peter on a new adventure, Wendy lets her go, knowing that she is in good hands and ready for her own journey. The story of Peter and the island continues, forever shaping the hearts and imaginations of those who hear it. That's it for today. We hope you enjoyed our take on the story of Wendy. Whether you're a fan of the original story or have never seen it before, this movie is a must-watch for anyone who loves adventure and the magic of childhood. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more short and sweet movie recaps. See you in the next video.